Could you survive the life of a Roman soldier, not just the marching or the battles, but the endless routine, the pain that never stops, and the loyalty that cost you everything? This isn't a story about heroes carved in marble or victories written in gold. It's about ordinary men who were broken and rebuilt by an empire that demanded everything and gave nothing back but discipline. Imagine you're 14. Your childhood ends the day a recruiter's tent appears at the edge of your town. You line up with the others, heart pounding, trying to look brave. If they pick you, your life is no longer yours. And that's only the beginning. Because the real battle doesn't start on the field, it starts in the training camp. Before you ever see a sword drawn in war, you'll fight the hardest fight of all, against fatigue, fear, and the loss of who you used to be. In this video, we'll walk through the brutal path from boyhood to legionnaire. From blistered feet to blood-soaked fields, from whispered oaths to the silent bonds of brotherhood. If you've ever wondered what it really meant to serve Rome, stay with us. The truth is harsher than any myth. No bugle or gentle sunrise heralded the Roman soldier's day. Instead, a centurion's barked command shattered the pre-dawn dark, jolting him from a restless night. The straw bedding beneath scratched at sore, battle-worn skin, while the barracks' heavy air, thick with the stench of sweat, damp wool, and unspoken fear, offered no respite. Lingering was a luxury he couldn't afford. Hesitate, and you'd be scrubbing latrines or hauling stones until your back screamed louder than the officer's wrath. Pain wasn't a mere byproduct of this life, it was its very architecture, woven into every moment. Drills began before the first whisper of morning light. Miles of grueling marches, packs laden with sand weighing down weary shoulders, weapons training with wooden swords heavier than the real gladius. Every step pounded the earth, every swing seared the muscles, every breath burned the lungs, each a deliberate forge to temper body and will. No room existed for weakness or a faltering step. Stumble and a comrade shouldered your load, then punished you for the lapse, a brutal reminder of the legion's unrelenting code. This wasn't mere preparation for war. This was war, a slow, grinding battle against your own limits, a test where surrender meant disgrace. And the worst part, this was only the dawn, the first chapter of a relentless day. What trials awaited as the sun rose on Rome's iron-hearted warriors? Step closer, listener, and uncover the saga of a soldier's life, where pain built strength and survival carved legends from the dust of the empire. In the Roman Empire, childhood was no tender sanctuary. It was a crucible, a proving ground where the weak were forged or broken. From the moment a boy could toddle, he bore burdens beyond his years. Not figuratively, but with small, straining hands. Buckets of water sloshing at his sides, baskets of grain heavy on his back, firewood stacked taller than his chest. Every chore carved a lesson in obedience. Every misstep, a spilled load, a tardy task, served as a stern reminder that comfort was a luxury Rome scorned. A father's word reigned as law, and Roman law knew no gentleness. In cramped city apartments and sprawling countryside villas alike, boys learned to hold their tongues when adults spoke, absorbing wisdom with wide eyes and clenched jaws. Respect, restraint, and responsibility weren't mere ideals. They were drilled deep, etched through example, and at times the sharp sting of punishment. Yet there was room for more than toil. Play was permitted, even urged, but not the soft games of modern fancy. Roman boys wrestled in the dust, raced through rugged fields, clashed with stick swords, and mastered the art of falling without a whimper. A scraped knee wasn't a worry, it was a badge, an expectation of a life built on endurance. For sons of military blood, the weight grew heavier. Over sparse dinner tables, tales of distant campaigns and decorated ancestors loomed like ghosts, their glory a silent challenge. Fathers watched hawk-eyed as boys sparred with friends, scanning for strength or the faintest hint of softness, knowing the empire demanded iron in its heirs. By 13, childhood vanished. A boy was no longer a child, but a soldier in waiting, expected to stand ready, body hardened, spirit steeled. What trials shaped these youths into Rome's unyielding backbone? Step closer, listener, and unearth the saga of a childhood where every day forged warriors, and the future of an empire rested on the shoulders of the young. It began humbly, a lone canvas tent pitched at the edge of town, a quiet omen of transformation. Yet the moment it rose, the air shifted. Boys still clinging to youth stood a little straighter, their whispers buzzing in shadowed corners. Was this their moment? Some came chasing glory, dreams of valor in their eyes. Others sought food, a desperate bid for survival. A few drifted in simply because no other path remained. The recruiters offered no warmth, no smiles, only cold scrutiny. They measured with piercing gazes. Strong shoulders earned a nod, healthy teeth a grunt of approval. Scars, limps, or nervous, darting eyes, dismissed without a word, cast back to the dust. There were no second chances in Rome's unyielding embrace. For those deemed worthy, triumph was fleeting. Civilian clothes were stripped away, tattered remnants of a past life. Hair was sheared short, names scratched onto rolls, identities reshaped by the legion's will. One last glance at home, one final embrace, perhaps a mother's tearful grip, then the road called. The march to training camp began before dawn's first light, packs slung hastily over shoulders, feet stumbling to the relentless rhythm of the Roman pace. Some chattered to tame their nerves, most trudged in silence, hearts pounding against the unknown. As the camp gates loomed on the horizon, stark and towering, every man felt the weight. This was the point of no return. The life they knew gone, swallowed by the dust of the path behind. Ahead lay something else entirely, a forge of sweat, steel, and destiny. What awaited these raw recruits beyond the gates? Step closer, listener, and unravel the saga of Rome's legionaries, where boys became soldiers and the empire's might was born anew. The gates didn't swing wide with trumpets or fanfare, they slammed shut, a thunderous end to the life you once knew. Inside, the world roared to life. Boots pounded stone, orders barked relentlessly, and the ragged gasps of grown men fighting not to break echoed through the air. No soft welcomes greeted you, only the centurion's stare, sharp enough to slice through bone and spirit alike. Privacy vanished in an instant. Dozens of men crammed into a barracks without doors or walls faced a merciless new reality. Cry and jeers rained down. Hesitate and a comrade bore the cost, punishment a shared burden. Discipline wasn't taught, it was forged, hammered into you with unyielding force. Dawn broke with a shout in the darkness. Late risers were banished to shovel manure or dig trenches, toiling until exhaustion claimed them. Breakfast was a meager bite of bread, chewed in silence. Then drills consumed the day, running with sacks of sand slung across aching backs, formations practiced under a blistering sun until legs buckled beneath the strain. Weapons training followed, not yet with steel but with a wooden gladius deliberately heavier, each swing tearing muscle from bone. Shields meant for protection dragged like anchors pulling you toward the earth. Pain became your shadow, humiliation your companion. Mistakes drew no gentle correction, extra laps, sleepless nights, or the sharp crack of the centurion's vine staff against your ribs answered every misstep. Yet amid the chaos, a shift stirred. The grind gave way to rhythm, a pulse binding you to the whole. You moved not as one, but as part of a greater body, your will bent to a force larger than fear itself. By then, origins faded. Farmer's son, runaway, merchant's mistake, no titles mattered. You were a recruit of Rome, reshaped in the empire's iron grip. And this was only the beginning. What trials would hone these raw souls into the legion's unbreakable spine? Step closer, listener, and uncover the saga of men forged in fire, where the empire's might claimed its own and set them on a path to glory. No drums rolled, no parades marched. Just a dusty square, a line of silent men, and a centurion clutching a weathered scroll. The ceremony was brief, yet its weight was eternal. One by one, recruits raised their right hands, voices steady as they echoed words older than the stones beneath their blistered feet, an oath to the emperor, to their officers, to each other. A vow to never retreat, never abandon a comrade, to obey even when every fiber screamed to flee. No cheers rang out, no smiles broke the stillness. Each man knew this was no milestone, it was a surrender, a yielding of self to Rome's unyielding will. From that moment, your life, your future, even your death belonged to the empire, no longer yours to command. For some, the weight settled like armor heavy, but a shield to bear. For others, it cut deeper than any blade, a wound to the soul that time might never heal. The centurion might clap a calloused hand to your shoulder, a gesture of grim camaraderie, but his eyes spoke a silent truth. The hardest part is still ahead. That dry, unremarkable square became a dividing line, a stark boundary between who you were and who Rome demanded you become. There was no going back, no unswearing the bond. What trials awaited these men, now forged as one with the empire's might? Step closer, listener, and unravel the saga of the legion's oath, where recruits surrendered self to serve, and a dusty square marked the birth of warriors destined to shape Rome's glory. In a Roman camp, free time was a myth, only hours of lesser pain existed. The day erupted long before dawn, a harsh call to rise piercing the dark. Linger a heartbeat too long, and brutal tasks awaited. Hauling water through the mud, scrubbing latrines until hands blistered, or carting heavy stones from one end of camp to the other, only to be ordered back, a lesson in endurance etched in sweat. Breakfast was swift and silent. A rough chunk of bread dipped in watered-down wine, fuel for the grind ahead. Rome demanded more than warriors, it forged builders, engineers, craftsmen. Every soldier mastered the spade and hammer, digging ditches, erecting walls, repairing roads. The camp was a living machine, each man a gear, turning without question, their toil the pulse of empire. Streets rose in perfect grids, barracks, kitchens, and armories aligned with an architect's precision, order carved from stone and sweat. Discipline reigned supreme. Step out of line and your brothers bore the cost, collective punishment a grim bond. No secrets, no shortcuts, no mercy for laziness. Centurions hawk-eyed missed nothing, a slouch, a pause, a weary sigh met swift, often public rebuke. Afternoons burned with drills. Formation practice, shield walls locked tight, silent marches beneath the crushing weight of full armor. The goal wasn't perfection, but unity, the man beside you as steady as your own heartbeat, a legion's strength forged in sync. Evenings offered no reprieve. Chores piled high, study sessions droned on, and for the promising literacy lessons in Roman law not by choice but by Rome's command. Letters from home, rare and precious, brought fleeting comfort and lingering shadows. Family faded to echoes, home a memory blurred by exhaustion. By nightfall, the camp fell silent, not with peace but resignation. Men lay still, muscles screaming, eyes heavy, sleep not a rest but a surrender to the relentless cycle. And tomorrow, the same unyielding forge awaited. What drove these men to endure Rome's brutal rhythm? Step closer, listener, and unravel the saga of the camp, where soldiers were shaped, and the empire's might was built on sweat, stone, and unshakable will. The campaign dawned not with light, but with the piercing wail of the cornix, the horn's sharp cry signaling movement. Before sunrise stained the sky, tents were struck, fires stamped to ash, and every man fell into line with his contubernium. 8 brothers bound by every mile, meal, and misery, a fellowship forged in hardship. Each soldier bore his world on his back. Weapons, armor, rations, a share of the tent's canvas and poles, all slung on a T-shaped yoke that bit into shoulders like a relentless foe. The weight pressed deep, but the legion carried no weak links, only iron wills marching on. 20 miles a day, sometimes more, they pressed through unforgiving lands. Heat that scorched, snow that numbed, mud that clung, fog that veiled danger. Forests whispered with moving shadows, deserts turned water to gold, hills loomed like challenges hurled by the gods. The road stretched uncertain, north to Germania's cold, damp wilds, east to Parthia's dust-choked plains. Wherever Rome faced enemies, the legion marched, bending the land to its will step by brutal step. Day's end brought no reprieve. A relentless routine unfolded, stakes driven into earth, trenches dug deep, palisades raised high. Every camp, however fleeting, stood fortified, Rome never gambled with chance, its vigilance a shield against the unknown. Meals came rough, men crouched on the ground, chewing hard biscuit and salted pork, the taste of ash and smoke in every bite. Water more precious than coin demanded care. A misstep could mean days of thirst or a fate far worse. Sleep settled under open skies broken by watch rotations. Each soldier took his turn, standing in the dark, eyes piercing trees for hidden ambushes, ears straining at sounds, wind, or something sinister. Yet the true enemy wasn't the barbarian's blade. Disease stalked the ranks, dysentery, fever infected wounds, claiming more lives than any spear. Still, the legion marched on, driven by Rome's unyielding demand by a bond no man dared break. No one wished to be left behind, a ghost lost to the dust of the empire's advance. What trials tested these warriors on their ceaseless path? Step closer, listener, and unravel the saga of the legion's march, where hardship forged heroes and Rome's will conquered all. A signal pierced the dawn, a horn's wail, a centurion's shout, and the weary march morphed into a storm of purpose. The legion transformed with breathtaking speed. Men, slogging through mud moments before, snapped into formation. Armor donned, shields locked tight, spears thrust skyward, they stood as one, a wall of Roman might. Fear lingered, a quiet specter in every heart, but centuries of training buried it beneath layers of iron discipline. Trembling hands mattered little, the line was everything. Centurions prowled the ranks, faces carved from stone, offering a nod of approval, a sharp word of command, no grand speeches, only the pulse of readiness. Then, over the hill or through the trees, the enemy loomed. Sometimes a screaming tide of painted barbarians charged, wild and fierce. Other times a mirror appeared, another disciplined army, poised in cold, unnerving silence. Either way, the air thickened with chaos. Horns blared, footsteps thundered, roars of gods and fallen fathers howled into the wind. The Pila flew first, dozens of heavy Roman javelins arcing in perfect unison, a deadly rain shattering shields, splintering formations, seeding panic. Then the line advanced, relentless, step, shields tight, gladii poised. The clash was no poet's vision, no cinematic sweep, it was brutal, raw, unforgiving. A Roman soldier didn't duel. He struck low behind the shield, a precise thrust of death. He pushed forward closed ranks, trusted the man at his left to guard as he shielded the right. Battle became a wall of bodies, sweat, blood, and screams mingling, sandals slipping on blood-slick grass, eyes stinging from acrid smoke, the deafening clang of metal on metal ringing like a forge of war. A mistake didn't just kill one, it imperiled all. Yet the legion held, the line unyielding, a testament not to strength alone but to discipline's unbreakable core. The enemy broke first, their ranks crumbling under Rome's weight. No cheers rose from the victors. The Romans reformed, counted their dead, tended the wounded, their focus unshaken. They waited, ever ready for the next call to arms. What forged this iron will, this legion of unyielding souls? Step closer, listener, and unravel the saga of Rome's battle line, where discipline triumphed and the empire's heart beat on through blood and chaos. Victory bore no scent of glory. It reeked of blood, sweat, and burnt flesh, a grim perfume clinging to the air. The battle's end marked not triumph, but the dawn of true pain. Men limped from the field, eyes glassy with shock, some cradling comrades who'd never speak again. Medics, armed only with ancient wisdom, moved with swift, practiced grace. No anesthetics, no antibiotics, just wine, vinegar, and raw courage to staunch the tide of suffering. A soldier with a shattered leg faced a brutal fate, held down by tentmates as a surgeon saw gnawed through bone. If luck spared him, he'd faint before the agony broke his spirit. If not, his screams tore the air until his voice splintered. Tools were stark and simple, knives, hooks, cauterizing irons, cleaned if at all by hot water or fire's kiss, a fragile shield against the rot to come. Fever, the silent reaper, claimed more than any foe. The legion broke them, starved their bodies, bled their spirits. Yet in the cracks of that brutal forge, something unshakable took root. A bond not scripted in training manuals, but hammered out in misery, tempered by surviving trials no outsider could fathom. These men didn't crown each other heroes, words were unnecessary. A nod, a past waterskin, a return to the grind, their loyalty spoke in actions, not anthems. They endured because they were never alone. To fall meant a brother bore a heavier load, a burden no man could abandon. Deep in the marrow of their bones, they knew no one else could grasp the weight of Rome, the relentless press of empire on every breath, every step. The Legion didn't merely craft warriors, it forged survivors, men bound by a brotherhood stronger than steel. And when service ended, if they lived to see that day, they returned home not as the youths who left, but as the souls Rome shaped. Forever marked, forever changed, forever Roman. What alchemy turned suffering into such enduring loyalty? Step closer, listener, and unravel the saga of the Legion's heart, where bonds defied the